All right, here is my audience. I have 5 present in the house. I have one back there on Skype. Say hi, Mom.
There you go.
I'm
All right.
fine. Colin's talking.
Okay.
We have 7 people. What are you doing? Robbie's gonna have to hold that the whole time?
Yeah, I don't have to. All right.
Uh-oh.
All right, my name's Kathleen Olson, and I'm going to talk to you today about cell phone usage in our society. Every day, people are walking around in close proximity to each other and rarely uttering a word out loud. This is the reality of society today, and the overuse of cell phones and other technologies that supposedly keep us all in touch. If a person goes out into the world, how many times in just one day do they look at their cell phones? Probably over 100. I mean, that's the honest. That is how it usually goes down. Most people can't even imagine going outside without their cell phones, even for an hour. Society in general needs to make a move towards making an active effort of putting down cell phones and the social media and start having real conversations, not social interaction via the internet. Where did the art of communication go? And what is the effect of all this cell phone usage and internet exposure on our mental and other health aspects? Well, there are a couple of things that actually happen. The reliance on the cell phones and similar technology is leading to a downfall in communication skills on face-to-face interaction. And there are also some mental and physical health problems that accompany too much use of technology. The use of technology, and specifically the use of cell phones, is contributing to a growing problem of an inability to communicate without these devices. According to a study done at Elon University, people are becoming more reliant on communicating with friends and family through this technology, and they're neglecting to engage personally, uninhibited by phones or devices, even when they are actually in the presence of others. An observation made during this study was that students were watched while having lunch in the dining hall at the university. During this time, 73% of the students sitting with others had their phones out instead of actually talking with the people around them. So instead of sitting around talking with friends at one of these times where we would usually use it to have social interaction and make bonds and different things like that, they had their phones out and were playing with them. When students were asked if it was acceptable to use phones and technology for the purpose of stimulating the conversation, the majority of the students said that it was acceptable. So in order to keep conversations going, people are using their phones to find out information to even start a conversation, instead of just starting it on their own. Along with the ability to have meaningful conversations and the amount of time people are having conversations face-to-face decreasing, there are other effects of too much cell phone usage. There are mental and physical health consequences due to the overuse of cell phones and technology. A different study done by Michigan State University found that use of a cell phone at night, right before bed, can actually affect the quality of sleep and the quantity of sleep that you get. These studies measured this by taking people who use their phones late at night, usually for work purposes, because that's what most people say, I have to use my phone for work, and that's what they do. And the next day, what they did was they observed all these people who did this at work. And what happened was many showed signs of sleep depletion, and they weren't engaged as much as they could have been had they gotten more sleep. Furthermore, a study done at Erasmus University at Rockingham also cited higher levels of stress, anxiety, and fatigue in those who use their phones to do work after the workday had ended. Basically, the idea that people need to continue being in contact with work after the workday has ended ends up being counterproductive, because people usually end up losing sleep, or they're stressed about work, or anything like that, and then it does affect how they are at work the next day. The cell phone usage doesn't just contribute to adults working, but it also contributes to children, teens, and college students as well, and problems that they have. In an article from Psychology Today, a study from Kent State University has shown that out of 500 students, those who use their phone with high frequency, in other words, for more than just calling and texting occasionally, were more prone to anxiety, lower GPAs, and when they were asked about life, they had an overall lower satisfaction with their lives. Is all this cell phone usage technology, is it bad? No, it's not bad. It's a tool that we need to use. But there needs to be a balance. People in general need to put the cell phones down and stop relying on them for the constant stream of entertainment and primary source of communication with other people. And for a couple of reasons, such as people are losing the ability to communicate face-to-face effectively, and it also does affect mental and physical health. We must put the cell phones down and start communicating face-to-face. Otherwise, we will lose the ability to talk to each other, and that will have consequences. We do not need constant stimulation. It is not necessary to survive. We need to focus on each other as humans instead of walking around heads down looking at our phones all the time. Thank you. And also, all the resources from the speech came from Psychology Today, socialpsychologyscience.org, and also the Elon University Journal for Undergraduate Studies in Communication. Thank you.
Should stop.